Oh, should I have this thing above the microphone? I don't have one of those things,
Yeah,
the boom
it's not
mic.
that
Oh,
far.
well, whatever.
This is pretty good.
The stream is starting.
Okay.
The tray tables in the All right, and we're live. We need to.
Hey, everyone. Hey.
Do you have it on gallery so we can all see?
It's on gallery.
So are we live?
We are live.
Okay, cool. Hey, everyone. It's Rachel. I'm here with John and Jack and Kyle. And so we are here at EthAtlanta. We just finished up the first 2 days, and it's been a really great, amazing event. And yeah, I mean, John, do you want to share your thoughts? What did you think of the event?
I think it's still ongoing. I mean, the real opportunity here is, the Provide Stack is up and it's out, but it's brand new. So it's kind of like the Enterprise and whatever that Star Trek episode was when they had the brand new one, and like they're still working out the bugs of it.
Royce.
Yeah, they're like
That brand new Lambo you got.
No, Scotty was like, I don't think the doors work.
Oh
Yeah.
no! Then he found out they open from the inside.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is kind of like the shakedown cruise for a lot of the stuff that we've got, and so having all these developers here, getting stuck, right, and saying, hey, wait a minute, this didn't work. I'm confused about that. And this is gold for a development team. So I'm sure that the Provide team and all of us are looking and saying, okay, how can we improve this? How can we improve that? So that by the end of the year, this thing is just like butter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think a lot of people, what's interesting is that a lot of people are actually, the questions that are coming from the dev teams are, how does this design fit together? Is this a good idea?
Does it give them ideas for stuff they can do?
Right. Well, they have good ideas already, but then it's like the implementation and the circuits, the architecture there. It's really like business process design kind of.
Yeah. Like that one team from that local team that, I mean, they've just had all sorts of ideas about it. And some were bang on and some were like still kind of grokking like what you can and can't do with it and what you could and couldn't do with it. But they figured it out, right? They're figuring it out and saying, and they stumble on a couple of really cool ideas. I mean, zero knowledge proofs, and the idea that you can prove a thing without showing the information about it, and then you can do that between entities. I mean, that'll bake your onion if you think about it. You got to kind of get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like virtual reality.
It's a design pattern.
You said making it smooth like butter, and I think the ratification of the standard 3 days ago, it's going to be a huge step.
It's a pending OASIS standard now, right?
Yeah, ratified by the TSC.
Yeah, so it's pending ratification technically as an OASIS standard.
That's right. It's ratified by the TSC, and then it goes to ratification by the PGB, and then it goes to the full OASIS, and then we get to send it to something like ISO.
Pending,
Yeah, it's always pending.
It's on the way.
Yeah, there's a long
But
process.
I agree. I mean,
It's a big milestone.
It's huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The fact that it's done is just crazy. And this is true. According to Oasis, this is, if not one of the fastest runs to TSC ratification. So
It's that high torque, high horsepower.
yeah, well, I mean, and it's your efforts as well as Andreas Freund,
Of course.
and then Anna Yusuf Frank keeping us all in line.
It was a team effort.
Yeah, good team.
It's a good community.
Yeah, the
I
chain
like-
link guys tipped in
Perfect.
too. I mean,
I like the core. Oh yeah, and Gage.
Gage, yeah, he's
here.
good. He's a
I
good
love
writer.
Gage, he's great.
he came here, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And, there's a hackathon project. It's looking like that's going to be a winner.
The chain link
tomorrow.
hackathon project.
Well, I mean, it's a base ledger.
Yeah, a base ledger
it-
with some chain link.
It's my entropy idea, right? Remember my entropy work?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Chainlink has that service for that.
Yeah. It's a collaboration with Chainlink on base ledger.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's probably gonna. There's a team here that's probably gonna win tomorrow.
How many people how many teams are there in total?
So that's unclear.
Oh,
but
okay.
There's 4 or 5 that are projects that are.
Yeah, they morph around, so it's kind of, they
There-
merge and they
There's
separate.
4 or 5 projects that are here at this hackathon
Mhm.
that I think are likely to be in contention tomorrow to win money.
So
then
what
there's some virtual ones,
exactly,
too.
like, what are you looking for with the hackathon, and these winners that are likely to win, what are they building that's so interesting to you guys?
Well, they're fulfilling a need that we have already, like in the stack. Like there's, like to John's point, like how do we at the end of the year have this thing polished and ready
Right.
and really rolling for enterprise in 2022? That's just by doing that here at this hackathon, right? Like by saying, get involved in the community and write some code here and giving them a head start so they can see, like, there's a lot of projects here that are like, 2 or 3 of them, 4 of them that have code that's been written and to-dos that say, do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's like really inviting, I think, for developers.
Yeah, the goal's got to be that any skilled developer should be able to do this without help.
Got it.
And to date, I mean, it's probably fair to say that most, certainly yesterday and today, most needed help. But that's okay, because by the end of the year, if, everybody listens hard, goes, oh, okay, this is where they got stuck. This is where they got, oh, I never would have thought they would have got stuck here. Polish all those out. By the end, you can say that, I've got a question about, is your business model to have like a lot of supply, like, you've got TCS and Wipro and Infosys and Accenture and all these other EY. Do you want them selling your stack as a product, or do you want them coming to you so that you guys are always the paper? Which way do you want to do that?
I mean, really, we are more favorable with like referral-based deals.
Well, they don't like those, right? They like, and their paper's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. Honestly, it's about enabling new business models for them, for those firms. Those firms have conflicts of interest and just in their existing business models.
Well, not like a Wipro does.
Well, not all of them. Not all of them. You're right. Some of them do.
But
And
you'd
It's
if they
about
wanted to
enabling new
do
business
build
models.
on provide, you would supply them with provide.
it's
right?
about absolutely. In the right context, yeah, it's going to create a new business model for them. It's a new revenue stream, new source of income.
Yeah, well, they can build a practice around.
Right.
They say, we're going to build a baselining practice.
Yeah.
And they're either going to build their own stack or they're going to
Well, no,
use yours.
there's more to it than just that, than just the stack, and because that's open source, there's open source the stack, and that's the standard. And so, like, if that's the standard stack, why would you go and invest millions to build a new one when you can build a new business that generates revenue using your existing open source one?
Right. So you're going to let them, you want them
To use the
selling
open source
their
code.
solutions
Yeah.
We want to
built on provide, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So those guys are tough, which means you get one shot at them and they don't look back.
Some of which
So
we're currently
so by
building
the end
on.
of the year, you want to be able to hand that to them and they just want to go, oh my God, I love using this.
Well,
Right?
I mean, many of them have been handed that and are saying that
That's cool.
at this point. There's increments to adoption of the whole stack. So yeah, I think it looks really promising because if you adopt the first increment of the stack and you're like, this is great, and you adopt the second increment of the stack, and it's like, okay, that's just amazing. But the first little chunk is pretty attainable pretty quickly.
And one piece of the growth model is assessing who those stakeholders and organizations are that will help kind of champion that most effectively and bring that and expand that to their respective ecosystems. And so those are kind of the pursuits that we're primarily focusing early on to make sure that we fully enable those respective ecosystems. And then once we're able to do so, to your point, John, we can have those teams go and sell that on our behalf and really kind of expand the whole execution of what Baseline can offer.
Well, that's like what with Kona and then what they're doing with Baseline, and yeah,
Spot on.
Kona rocks.
yeah, they were here. He was here.
They sponsored the event.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Kona.
Well, yeah, and that is a good,
What an
yeah,
amazing
ServiceNow and Kona were great.
Very humbling event. Very cool with some sponsors. Good turnout.
Yeah,
John-
people like the tree trunk thing.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you
Yeah,
should
John,
talk a little bit about the NFT tree trunks.
Yeah, it was cool to watch the NFT session tonight, and I got to talk to those guys. And they really did like the idea of being at the top of a royalty tree.
Baselining is it's the future. Like there's such a huge problem in the music and recording industry. It hits them like in Atlanta, like
Yeah.
crazy. That same model. There's some really weird regulations and some laws that really screw artists
I mean, Imogene Heap figured it out
But
like
I-
6 years ago. I mean, she went direct to her customers.
recording artist royalties is the same thing.
It's nuts.
It's the same exact thing. It's a huge problem. It would resonate really well here in Atlanta.
Right. I mean, you can always get royalties off of sales direct. As
The
we
artists
do.
get screwed. No, they don't get anything. They get
Like in the old model, but with NFTs.
No,
you
in the
get-
current model, yeah.
Current model?
The current recording industry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm
but-
just
but
saying
if you
it's
can
the same
say-
thing.
But like I said, like Imogene Heap with, but you guys know the story about that, do you?
Which one?
Sort of, yeah. I've
2015?
met her, yeah.
Huh?
Oh, well, yeah. go
Yeah,
ahead.
we had a team called Uport, and so she was the first that we know of, artist on Ethereum that was selling her music direct to customers using the Ethereum platform, right? And I mean, just early, it was
Mhm.
too early. Today, I mean, that's, you know, she was doing that, but even then, you could sell a song, right? But then
It's the
that
samples
person
and all
sells, it,
that.
like if that person
It's the
unsells it,
samples, it's the record
she doesn't get
label
anything from that.
Mhm.
The
whereas-
record label goes and just takes from you.
Well, there's that, right? But and you can still employ that model. You could like create a NFT of your song,
Exactly. It's the
a
same
single
model.
one,
And you can have a
and then
lineage.
give that to your label.
You can
And
have a
then you
lineage.
could say the label can mint a
And then it
hundred,
gets sampled.
children of-
it
under
gets
the
sampled
label.
and sounds different, right?
Right,
But
and
it
that
has
would-
the same
yeah.
fingerprint in the lineage tree, in the tree, right?
right?
You
So
like
the-
the sample, what's weird is the samples are still need to be traced. They don't sound quite the same, right?
No, they sound the
Anyway,
same. It's
we're
just
on a
the ones
tangent,
with
we're on a
zeros
tangent.
are
Hey,
different.
we're on a tangent. The point is, great idea. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I like the idea that when, you know, if you buy the NFT from me, right, and you then sell it to Kyle, I still get royalties. I still get money by some formula, right?
Right. When I sell it to
It's either
Kyle.
50/50
Yeah.
Or, you know, I get,
Yeah.
you know, or, and then Kyle sells it to Jack. And say, okay, it's, you know, that Kyle gets 50% of it because he sold it. And you get 10 and I get 20 because I'm
Right.
right, or whatever that
Yeah.
the breakdown is. You know, you can create that, and we built
Then you-
that
then you
idea
fork
2 years
You
ago with,
fork- It gets forked and forked, it's like,
right, so that was just one linear stream, right? But now you've got, there's, so you can do 10 children, and each of them is paying you a royalty.
Right.
And yeah, it's multi-level marketing, but
Right.
it's for artists.
Yeah.
but that's
For
how it
Soap,
works.
it's kind of
That's how-
creepy,
that's how
but
the
for
market-
artists,
that's how the
it's
market-
got a
that's how
great
the
idea.
market Looks though, in like in music and anything, really.
Yeah.
Like it's it's derivative work.
And a lot of these NFTs are still being built and are predicated and being sold on these centralized services. And with those centralized services brings issues as well, that of which is where I think from a baselining perspective, that will further augment it. You see a lot of things within like the OpenSea centralized service that, you know, the true originator and owner of that asset sometimes can be in question based on ways in which things were minted. And I think baselining is going to bring a huge value to that, and even these centralized services that a lot of these different NFTs and different tokens are being minted and sold through.
Well, I think there's a role for centralized. SaaS services are a pretty great thing that aren't that old. The cloud is still kind of in its early adolescence,
Sure.
and it's pretty amazing stuff, right? That we
We're so
benefit
early.
from it all
It's
over.
crazy.
Well, I think that the change is to say, and I think as far as I know, OpenSea is based on this. You know, and we tried, you know, in the whole NFT space, you know, you don't want to have a rug pull, right? But it's okay to say, hey, I've got a service, you'll pay me for, you know, some amount to make it easy, the easy button, right? I'm going to make it easy for you. But if I go out of business, you know, get a hold of a reasonably technical friend and you can still get what you own back. And you don't, you know, the fact that my servers are no longer available doesn't
A
matter.
reasonably technical friend.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, but, you know, so
This is
I
a-
think
this
that's
is a technical term.
right. That's the marriage of decentralization and centralization. You've got a really nice SaaS experience that is enjoyable. You don't have to be an engineer to figure out. But but if that thing folds, goes out of business, doesn't matter because the core is on this permanent thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
On another note, I really liked Paul Brody's keynote. That was amazing. And he said the entire global financial ecosystem will be on Ethereum.
That's what he says, yes. I
Yeah.
Tend to agree.
He's very articulate.
Yes, he is very, yeah, it was a good presentation. John, what did you think?
Oh, I mean, I used to think I was a good speaker until I met Paul.
Paul's a very
I'm not
energetic
kidding.
guy.
It's just so good.
He's
Yeah.
very cool.
He gave me a little masterclass on slideshows because I can do a good slideshow.
Mhm.
I thought the tree trunk one was a pretty good slideshow, but it takes so much out of me. I can write a speech in an hour. I can write a presidential speech in 2 hours. I can't do a good PowerPoint in 16 hours.
Yeah,
It's just
PowerPoints are hard.
he's a genius.
He's
at
got
it.
the uncanny ability to
Yeah, we're getting pretty good at quick, like short notice PowerPoints.
little, little too familiar with it, but
Yeah, right.
Paul's got the uncanny ability to kind of to see the bigger picture and the big shifts that are happening, but he's technical enough to go deep, and that's why I appreciate hearing from him so much and having him here at EthAtlanta, which is greatly appreciated.
Having Paul here was amazing.
Yeah.
I think there's like a certain degree of candor that's needed. Talking about how big these changes, what the implications are for the stuff we're working on. And Paul definitely brings up.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the keynote with Joe? Did he say anything that resonated with you guys?
First of all, Joe's a really good sport.
Yeah.
Because the AV problems were tricky.
They were,
But
I think
he's the kindest man I know. And he was like, he just waited for it patiently. He didn't
Yeah.
complain about it. He was just a good guy.
he was. Yeah.
I liked what he said about when I asked him the question about private and public blockchains. And he didn't say like private is dead. He worded it very carefully and nicely. I forgot what he said specifically, but exactly. Anyways,
He sees the long journey and
Yeah. That's what it is. You have to.
yeah, I mean, he's not,
That's what it is.
And
he's not going to form a, it's like, this is how it is.
right,
This is where we're at.
right.
And he sees where we want to go, but he's, I think it's fair to say that each step along the way he considers as valid as any other step,
and I feel like
which is actually a more enlightened idea than I have. So I give him credit for that.
I feel like the evolution that Joe, Consensus, and yourself, John, have been on is very similar to the evolution that we're experiencing here in the baseline protocol community, because Consensus has been very much focused on onboarding institutions, bringing in large organizations into this ecosystem, and you have to do that the right way. You have to do that from a regulatory compliant way, and those are things that we have to experience here. And so, many folks in the community don't necessarily see the amount of work that has gone into the strides that we collectively all make here from a baseline protocol perspective, from the standards to getting enterprises comfortable and willing to start adopting and utilizing.
That's well said, Jack. Totally agree.
What's interesting, another thing that's interesting are the UBT payments. I remember like a few weeks ago, I was speaking about that on a podcast, and people just found that fascinating that you can pay for provide services with the UBT token.
Yeah, it's just a really synergistic collaboration that formed that again with the EEA and baseline protocol community within those walls. After having some years of cycle living through cycles in this market. And so it's very rewarding to see that the whole thing, the whole industry mature to over just a quick. Everyone looks at success and they're like, "Oh, it's an overnight success," but it's always John. It takes some time right along the way to get there, and then all of a sudden, bang, it's there, and that was an overnight success, right?
I've passed the half-century mark. I'd like to bang, please.
Yeah, the bang's
No,
coming.
it's fine.
But for blockchain, the bang's coming. It's definitely here upon us. It's just a little bit more of those cycles to endure, maybe one or two more. It's here. It's an unstoppable force.
What sold me about the UBT thing, and at first I was not a fan. I think, I made that clear. I was not a fan. I didn't like, I still hated that. I still hate the white paper. I thought the base letter white paper, I hated it.
Yeah,
It's fine. And I would, if I didn't say that, I would not be candorous.
because
We
it was
just
so
pushed
true.
the right
There
button.
There was
I
so
hate
much
it.
rawness behind it. It was real. It was
Okay.
very. It was.
We will,
We kept it real.
It's okay, the
But-
UBT, the UBT.
Look, my contrasting is the thing. I like the work. I didn't like the white paper.
Okay.
You can trust
Fair
me that I
enough.
like the work because I'm telling you, I hated the
We
white
didn't
paper.
doubt that you, we didn't
Right,
doubt that
so-
you liked the white paper based on.
I
how
like the
you hated
work, but I didn't like the white paper. I didn't like our position. And so I was offside on it originally. What kind of brought me around was the reverse gearing on being able to pay fiat and not have to, if UBT goes up or down, it doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
The cost of my IT department doesn't change. And I don't have to understand crypto and get a
Yeah.
finance degree to do it. That was smart. And anchoring everything to the Ethereum mainnet and making it so that it's a bag of proofs chain as opposed to, something that's
Token
starting to
print,
look
like-
like the next EO.
And high
I like
gas
that.
or high gas internal like token transfers inside of a roll up that is very expensive.
Yeah,
Like the roll ups that we're talking about here, the ZK, not to go too into the technical weeds, but the ZK and the ZK roll ups. I mean, the return on investment on putting those proofs on one is like it's just insane. It's insane. It's exponential. It's just not even comparable to the gas queue experience on these DeFi rollups today.
Yeah.
The perspective of where the liquidity, like the stage in which the liquidity is deployed against these proofs is different, right? You aggregate all these proofs, they represent real assets that happen in
Right.
ERP systems. And then all of a sudden, once some threshold is hit, all the liquidity rains down and the securitization happens. Now, today, you have all these locked up assets that are happening on the other side of it that are just coming in from these DeFi gains, which are fascinating and interesting, but they're not, they're real enterprise scale is going to change this whole market. And
Yeah,
and
and it's geared for enterprise acceptance. I mean, you're not even right down to Ketchak, right? And ultimately, you got to deal with the root. The anchors are dealing with Ketchak, but I think you could sell that.
I mean, they're doing
Even
it
the
wherever
government,
they
you could
want.
say, look,
if you're doing it on
yeah,
chain,
yeah, the immediate, the coalface of your application to the back end, you're not dealing with something that you have to worry about miscompliance on. The Ethereum mainnet is still has an argument about miscompliance over Ketchuk versus SHA-50.
That's sort of like abstracted. If you
It
think
is, it's abstracted away, so you can at least say, look, it's not,
Yeah.
I think that's getting to the point where only the most puritanical CIO would have a problem with it. So that's good.
It just
That
needs
was a good
to have the
example.
ability to be extensively safe for quantum. And then
Well, if you had some magic quantum system,
eventually,
you would
though,
crack through and what would you get? Two guys agree on something. Right?
That's the
That's
idea.
all you'd see, right?
The idea.
So there's,
That's exactly right.
yeah, so in a way it is kind of safe, right? I mean,
It is.
you could
Agreed. yeah.
maybe
That's
ascertain
true.
something about the
No, you're right.
signatures,
You're right.
but that would
No,
be,
no, I think that's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I think that's good. I think in general, yeah, it's been geared. I wasn't wild about the idea of not using the EVM, but now because, and
We
that's
are.
yeah, you are ultimately, but I mean, there's no EVM in baseline.
There's EVM compliant technologies though.
Right, but there's no EVM. You
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
like the
but because
validity to
it-
get into baseline.
Right, but no,
No.
but you could, using the right curves and being aligned with the EVM in that sense, and then helping drive the curve R&D on the EVM research on the Ethereum research team on that side of it.
Right.
I mean, there's an alignment that just because you're not running the EVM doesn't mean you're not aligned with the Ethereum.
Oh, yeah, no,
Ethereum
that's exactly what I'm
ecosystem.
saying. My point is that at first I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't supporting, I work for, I play
It
for the
is,
Ethereum
yeah.
team, so
Right.
I'm gonna, watch, I like, as the chair of the TSC, I'm gonna be like, hey, knock yourself out, do whatever you want. But as the combatant, working for the Ethereum team, I'm gonna say, well, if you want my support, gotta support Ethereum,
Well, and,
but
And this-
as a person.
and this
uh,
being, like the theme, EthAtlanta, I think that's what's something that's so interesting about what we're able to do here is the amount of mainnet volume that we're going to ultimately be driving to Ethereum through baselining of these different processes. And I think that is just something that
Yeah, because
I'm
you're
hoping-
anchoring to the Ethereum mainnet. I agree with that. But at first glance, what I'm saying, I had to come around, and this is going to be a trick to sell it to people. is when they expect an L2, they're expecting like
Not on the enterprise side.
token transactions and all this, and it doesn't do any of that.
Not on the enterprise side. The sales.
That's right. At the enterprise side, they don't.
They don't
You're
care.
right. Yeah. So I would just been saying, it's, hey, look, it's just it's a bag of proofs.
That's why
And-
that's why this whole lineage or like this whole supply chain of proofs is set up the way it is. The enterprise does not care. The next, like at the layer, the layer 2, it starts to get technical, and then layer 1, you're like religious.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, so when you have to unlearn what one has learned about L2s and side chains and all that stuff, and you say, oh well, okay, we've thrown out all the things that you can get
proofs.
religious about.
Yeah.
All it is a bag of proofs, and you just need.
But even the provenance of the proofs is religious because you adopt the technologies and the culture and the religion of the L1 upstream. You do.
Yeah.
In many ways,
Yeah,
but at the same time, you can be agnostic, but you have to pick a side at some point, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
an interesting
still.
place to-
Yeah, I'm still
Right.
going to say, hey, look, the Ethereum mainnet's the best place to root it all in.
Yeah.
To lock it down.
I think that's what we just said.
Well, and that's been the mission of what we've been doing. I mean, that's why
That's why it
you
provides
yourself,
EVM
yeah,
initially,
and you've
right?
been,
Provided it's
That's
agnostic,
within the
but it's
EEA
got
and-
all the investment into that one key network.
I mean, yeah,
And-
the day that comes that where there's a more tamper resistant state machine that's public out there.
Then you can support it on Provide if you want.
Well, at that point,
Yeah.
then that's the
That's
best candidate for it. And I would be intellectually
but
dishonest
agreed.
to say otherwise.
Well,
But
and
agree,
that's-
the Ethereum community developer ecosystem and technology stack, they're the technologies that are enabling that the decentralized public Ethereum blockchain are great for the enterprise.
and there will be others. That being said, our focus has always been on where is the customer demand on, and some of the largest enterprises that we've seen been building in this ecosystem have had a demand for the Ethereum ecosystem and to be building on the Ethereum public mainnet. So that's, where we're going
Well,
to continue to focus.
enterprises have trouble with that. But,
EthAtlanta.
yeah.
All right. I think we probably we're probably getting close.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jack, we should dig into that topic later as to why, but stay tuned because that could be the next
It could very well be.
podcast.
Rachel, we'll flip it real quick, close it to you. What did you think about ETHTL?
Well,
What,
you got to judge those hackathon projects tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I'm excited to see who wins the hackathon. That's for sure. What I really like about this event is the developer community here. You don't see that a lot at like Bitcoin events, for instance. There's a lot of talent here, and
I
it's
like where
something.
you're going with that.
Yeah, no, but it's true. There are really talented individuals here that are building really great things that you don't usually see at other crypto events, and at least the ones that I've been to.
Makes sense.
I've gone to a lot, but we should highlight those individuals. I mean, they're the ones building this technology, and I was speaking with some of them today, and they were like, "Look, we love like reading articles in the media and this and that, but there's really not enough attention on the developers in the
Oh my
media."
gosh.
It's a great point.
There were 3 developers from GM
Yep.
that came cross country.
Oh
There
wow!
was this is nuts. Have you guys met these guys?
San
One is
Antonio.
they drove always from San Antonio. One is a law student, the other is an RN.
Yeah, I met him, the law student.
Right, and
They're
they're
just
just
a
fans of baselining.
Haven't missed a baseline show.
They're
Haven't
amazing
missed a baseline
fans.
show.
Yeah,
They're fans.
yeah.
I've never
There's a
experienced
huge
that
fan
before.
base of baseline provide. Like, there's a huge fan base here of
There
Yeah.
you go.
Well,
yeah.
That's why we're all doing this. I mean,
Yes.
John, bringing more folks into the fold, bringing creators into the space, you having the conversation there on after with
Yeah.
those artists like Greg Mike and the others that were here. I mean, they
Life
get
is
it.
funny, right? I never thought
Right?
I'd be
Look,
pushing NFT.
I
Look
never
at-
thought either. Oh my gosh.
Let me say one thing.
It's like the
Um,
shocker.
Let me say
Shocker
one
of
thing
the
that
event.
one thing that must be said about the event. The Provide team is phenomenal. Without the team, Jack and Taylor, David, Zach, this event, I mean, Aaron, wouldn't have happened at all.
Oh yeah.
It was all of them, all of it.
And I must say, and the developers, very talented, but that the speakers were so high level.
No,
I
it was
mean,
amazing.
like Paul Brody, John,
The
ServiceNow,
lineup was
Splunk,
incredible.
Kona.
What was
Oh,
shown off
Splunk killed it. I thought Nate was
Oh,
great.
Yeah,
Great.
it's like literally all the enterprises in the blockchain space were here.
This was
and
the event.
This
And I
was like
don't-
the enterprise blockchain event.
It was
I
awesome.
know you don't like that term.
No,
enterprise
no, I like
He doesn't like
blockchain in
the-
the enterprise.
He
not
doesn't
enterprise
like
blockchain.
the blockchain for baselining.
Or
That-
NFTs,
A
but,
blockchain for baseline.
That's what he doesn't
I gotta,
like.
I gotta toe the line there.
okay.
Speaking
A
very-
blockchain, gotta be inclusive. There could be
Yeah.
another.
Just
Gotta
because
be,
it.
gotta
yeah.
love them all.
Speaking very
All
quickly
of the
to,
children.
speaking very quickly to Splunk, I think it was highlighted, but I think soon the insights gained that we're working closely with Splunk on to deliver from a baselining and base ledger perspective is going to be hugely significant and
Yeah,
beneficial
it-
to the ecosystem.
It came together for me when Nate was talking. He's like, well, this company's getting splunked. I'm like, well, we often say this company's getting baseline. I'm like, well, why can't they do the both at the same time?
Exactly.
Yeah. A lot of things that you have to do to Splunk, you have to do for baselining anyway.
Yeah.
So
And the
it's a nice
provide
injection
stack
point.
just is instantly compatible with Splunk. So any organization can run provide. And we've got that integration with Microsoft Azure Cloud. And the same can apply for AWS. Like you can launch a provide stack with the Azure Key Vault, cross data center, cross cloud replicated, fault tolerant through AGS, and Splunk all of it.
Now we just need some tools for making ZK circuits easier to build.
That's true. ZK circuits and the use cases.
Yes, I mean, all these guys are.
They're like,
I
how do I
want to
build
prove,
it? How do I
I
build
want
it?
to prove under zero knowledge
Yeah,
that
This
this
I signed
payment
it.
was made between this range and this range, but not outside that. And they don't know how to
That
build
is-
that particular circuit,
is
and they got to
where-
call like somebody like Andreas Freund to
That
do
is
it.
where the EYs
Yeah.
and the Accentures and the ThoughtWorks come in.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
future.
Well, there's a good business in that, but it would be great if you could visually build,
Oh,
you know, certain kinds of like just certain patterns, like lay them basically down. It's
What we
like-
want to do with
Yeah.
Shuttle, John,
Yeah.
is actually add when you add your work steps to the visual designer, we want to actually enable a code mode so you can write Python and it will turn into a ZK circuit. That way, any enterprise developer, just like you can with Auth0,
At high level, that's awesome.
That's
but
what we're
There's
looking at.
certain kinds of, I mean, there's constraints, right? Like circuits can't do just any Python
they
logic.
can though, as long as you have a circuit, as a really deep mathematical circuit governing it. There's it's an R&D project.
Yeah, sure.
That's what
Yeah,
we're working.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
doing the R&D.
Hard problem.
It's an R&D project. So
Usually
it's,
cool.
it's arbitrary code execution circuit. That's the mecca that we all want.
There's some people that,
I think I've heard that come out of your mouth before.
What?
That's the one you want.
What?
That's the arbitrary code execution circuit. That you
I
want.
ever said that?
Yes,
I
yes.
said
Oh, yeah.
arbitrary codex.
You
Well,
forgot about
I'm
it, but
old
you-
and feeble. I don't remember.
Yeah, you forgot about that
Okay.
but that's what you want. You want that Python written
Who are you?
circuit.
I'm scared.
I'm scared
Alright.
too. Maybe it's time we sign off.
Yes, John, Rachel, Jack.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, this
thanks-
was awesome.
This was cool.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Rachel, you're a great sport.
Oh, yeah.
You guys
All
rock.
over here. Where'd you coming from?
From Austin, my new home base. I'm so excited to live there. I was over the Bay Area.
Austin. I
Yeah,
used to live there.
yeah.
I've been there a few times.
Nice and hot. I can't wait to get back to that 90-degree weather.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love it. Everyone's
is the
sweating
dry
and
heat?
dying, and I'm just like so happy. Like, bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on, heat. Anyways.
I'll tell you a quick story. I lived in Sydney, Australia for a while, and it's a country screaming for a casual dress code because it's so hot. But everybody, at least when I was there, everybody's booted, suited, Armani
Ooh.
suits. I was wearing one every day, full tie, cinched up to the neck, less neck in those days. And I don't think I can wear a tie anymore. But I had what I called the talc towel. I would just basically soak this towel in talc in baby powder, and then I would like this.
When
I'd
you-
have to basically talc up front and back all over shorts, everything.
Wow.
It was the only way to get through the day because I would
Graphic.
sweat through my
Yeah.
damn suit.
Yeah, yeah,
every
yeah.
day.
Graphic.
Well, I
It's
mean,
horrible.
yeah, when you live somewhere so hot, you shouldn't wear suits. You shouldn't wear, a lot
Right.
of clothes.
You should
Like,
just play golf.
yeah, I was, you got to wear shorts and like,
Just
a
play
tank
golf.
top.
You should play golf daily.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
we're
my
in
chicken
the,
legs
that-
would do.
that's why we're in
horrible.
the Ethereum ecosystem, so we don't have to be suits, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great.
Hey,
Casual.
I wore a collar this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Those are nice
Yeah, I
colors.
was a
I
man.
put makeup on. I mean,
I
I
did
haven't
too.
done that in ages. I'm
I
like,
wear-
oh,
I wear a
wow.
freaking
You
collar.
don't think this comes naturally? do
Twice.
you?
No, how could it? Too gorgeous.
John,
Okay.
thanks, man. Rachel.
All right,
good to
thanks,
see you.
guys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun.
There's